The markets are open.
People always ask, well, why should I bet on Monday? Because you have the perfect number in front of you.
And the numbers are moving.
We've seen this total go from 47 to 49, 49 and a half.
Now you're getting a field goal in a game that was sit and pick 'em for so long.
Let's dive into some Monday morning market moves on BetQL Daily, presented by BetMGM.
We talked about it at the time. We felt good a week ago about our Bama 18-1 tickets. There were people that lost Bama to make the playoffs -$4 or $5 because the committee told us a week ago, no more data points. They're pretty much in. What can change? We're not going to ding anybody for not playing. We're not going to ding someone for playing in the conference title games, which was definitely a lie. Bring out Maury Povich in this one. But what they ended up doing is Jim Phillips's dream. Like, after he spent a week crying to anyone that would listen, they gave in.
No,
they caved.
He would never.
Yeah,
he would never do that.
God, like, just it was enough of him. Please stop with Jim Phillips. And it's the same. The media loves him for some reason because he's a nice guy, or he'll give them a little nugget. They don't realize that he's completely using them. But that's been going on for decades, whether he was at Northwestern or commissioner of the ACC, whatever. But SMU in over Bama and Miami. We figured out a week ago, okay, Miami's not going to make it, especially since they weren't in the ACC title game. But the committee says, well, SMU made it a really close game. They gave up that late field goal. They let them have it. 9 seconds here. Here's a great return and sets up for the game-winning field goal. Awesome kick by the guy. But SMU makes it in. Clemson, of course, is in. They decided to go with 2 ACC teams instead of a 3-loss Alabama squad.
I did laugh because I took a picture of the bracket as it was being unveiled, and Nick and I are doing You Better You Bet countdown to kickoff. So I'm like sniping a picture during our show. The funniest thing to me is that Clemson beat SMU, and SMU was an 11 and Clemson was a 12. That was very funny. Like, the results from the weekend matter, but they don't really matter. Yeah, like,
they do
Alabama,
matter because SMU got in. Right?
But why?
As a loser.
Clemson literally just beat SMU. So
Yeah.
SMU's the 11 and Clemson's the 12. That was very funny. Also, Oregon is the number 1 overall seed. Oregon didn't lose a single game all season. And Oregon's path to a championship is Ohio State, Texas, Georgia.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We've
cool.
talked about this for months. We've been telling people, you don't want to be the one. You don't want to be the one.
I just don't understand how they could do that to Oregon. And
This is idiotic.
I don't really care if Oregon wins or not. If I had an Oregon future, though, imagine betting Oregon before the year at, 7-1 or whatever? Because you had Ohio State and Georgia were the favorites, and then Oregon was, you could have found Oregon at 7-1. Imagine betting Oregon before the year 7-1. They go 13-0. You would think that this is going to be easy for them in the playoff, at least relatively easy compared to what Georgia's seed is at 2 or Boise's at 3. No, the 1 is the hardest seed. It is. And we've talked about this now for 3 weeks on the show. And that video that went viral 2 weeks ago is still getting clicked. There's almost 1 million views on Instagram of Ohio State being the 5 seed, and people still reacting to it, saying Ohio State stinks and all that. And it's very funny. Oregon has to play the winner of Ohio State and Tennessee as the number 1 overall seed. Georgia plays the winner of Notre Dame, Indiana. Boise plays the winner of Penn State, SMU. Arizona State plays the winner of Texas and Clemson. It's not even close. It's not even close from a power rating standpoint. Oregon's going to play potentially an Ohio State team that it's 2 points better than on a neutral. That's it. So, okay, you win that game. Then you got to beat likely Texas.
Yeah.
Then you get by Texas maybe, and then you get Georgia or Penn State or Boise State. I mean, whatever. I mean, that is a ridiculous 3-game stretch. And it's not to say they can't do it, but they shouldn't have to play that schedule. That's insanity to me.
If you don't believe us when we say that the 5 is the easiest path, just look to the numbers. Because after this was unveiled, we've got Texas losing the SEC championship to Georgia. Okay? So they drop out, no longer have a bye, they get the 5. But Texas became the favorite to win the championship this weekend. So that tells you that the odds makers are saying you want to be the 5 no matter what. And that's what I was saying throughout. These teams are so close. Give me the 5. At this point, I'll just wait and find out who's the 5. They made the 5 the favorite. Texas is now your favorite to win the championship. Your second favorite is Georgia. They took the one team that hasn't lost, and overall, they're the third favorite on average at most spots, but it is really close. It's a few cents here, a few cents there between Texas, Georgia, and Oregon. And the fourth favorite is the 8th seed, which just tells you how idiotic this whole thing is, how they have this set up. I love expansion, but this is not how it should be seeded in any way. And they probably thought going in, okay, we're going to get these good first round matchups. No, what you're setting up is a bunch of bad second round matchups, and there's no point spread in the first round that's a touchdown or shorter.
And you know what's going to happen, too. I was texting with a bunch of guys yesterday that book bets in Vegas, all over town, not just one place. It was like 3 or 4 guys, three or four different places. You know what they're all saying right now? They're just going to parlay all the favorites together. That's what the players are going to do. Like, yeah. What's going to stop people from parlaying Notre Dame to Texas or Ohio State to Penn State? Or, hell, you could parlay all 4 of them together right now. And I'm not going to do it, but it's probably going to win.
Why not?
What
have we seen all year in college?
Yeah. Favorites. That's it. It's just favorites.
Yeah.
So I went to BetMGM, and because I was curious about this, if I just take Notre Dame, Penn State, Texas, Ohio State to win, just parlay them all to win. If you do that, BetMGM's giving you plus 194 right now.
All right, and people will do it. That. Yeah.
They will do it. So let's take one of them out. All right, let's take out Ohio State because that's probably going to be the closest game, even though I do actually like Ohio State in the game. Let's just go Notre Dame, Penn State, Texas. 3-teamer, plus 115. Mm-hmm. This is what people are going to do. And the books have no defense against it. Guys aren't going to lay 7.5. They're not going to lay 8.5. No, they're just going to bet these teams to win. Like, think about it. Think about the guys you know and the guys I know. Guys that just love action. That text you on Sunday morning, hey, what are your 5 favorite bets today? How are they going to bet this? Well, they're going to just parlay favorites. And Notre Dame is an island on Friday. This number actually opened. I took a screenshot of where it opened because, 8. DraftKings and FanDuel opened first because they don't deal with rotation numbers. So they're able to put up a number right away. And then you saw BetOnline go up, and then finally everybody else goes up because Don Best slotted the rotation numbers, and then you get a truer picture. So the first number I saw was Notre Dame 8, Penn State 8.5, Texas 11, Ohio State 7. There hasn't really been that much movement, but we do now have some appetite for Indiana. So the Hoosiers are 7.5 at a lot of places. MGM has 7.5, and that total came down a little bit. That's the Friday night game at Notre Dame in South Bend. So Notre Dame, let's call them right now, 8 on the open, down to 7.5. And then 3 games on Saturday, December 21st. Lucky for Brian Gertz, too, who does a great job for us on the show. He's going to the Nutcracker on Saturday. Notre Dame, Indiana is Friday. So he can watch Indiana, Notre Dame in peace and not have to deal with watching the game at the Nutcracker.
Oh, well, yeah. So here, my wife was pissed that it's Friday because that means we're most likely going. So that means we're probably going to have to take the kids out of school early, something like that. I'll probably do the show and then go. I don't know. I haven't made my mind up if I'm going or not, but I love it. I like Notre Dame in that game. Don't you? I'm not saying ATS. I'm saying what you were talking about as far as winning.
No. Oh, to win. Yeah, to win. Of course.
Yeah,
they're going to win.
Yeah.
They're going to win. So then Saturday you got Penn State opened 8.5. Now there's some 9 in the market. That's a fair consensus number. Some books are at 8, some books are at 9. Texas opens 11. That's still 11 at a lot of shops. Pinnacle's at 12. MGM's at 10.5. So not much movement there. And then Ohio State opens 7 and gets bet up 7.5, 8. I know some sharp guys that really like Ohio State in the game. But I have this feeling, and I know these books are nervous about this show. Just parlay these 2 together or these 3 together, or hell, just parlay all of them to win and see what happens. And that will be a common trend for this first ever college football playoff 12-team tournament, where the first 4 games, it's very, very likely the favorites win all 4 of them.
Penn State has a walk. A walk to probably face Georgia, right? SMU, then Boise. They got a nice path. We keep talking about Texas, and I think we should because of their path. But Penn State, good. And we always talk about James Franklin. Now, what is he? 1-16, 1-17 against top 5 teams. Well, it's going to be a while before he faces a top 5 team. Might be the championship.
I have Penn State 9 points better than Boise on a neutral.
Mm-hmm.
That's just where I'm at. And Nick and I were making numbers yesterday, and the only one that I was off on was Penn State SMU. I had it 10, and it opened 8.5. Everything else lined up. I mean, we had Notre Dame. I had Notre Dame 8.5. I had Texas 10.5, 11. I had Ohio State like 6.5. So, I'm within a point on all these games for the most part. That's where I'm at. I'm at Penn State 124 and Boise 115. So, yeah, it's pretty easy for Penn State. Now, James Franklin is the great equalizer, right? But
yeah,
Penn State should be right where it needs to be when they get these first 2 wins, because you're talking about a double-digit point spread basically right now. I mean, it's 9 at some places, and then they'll be very similarly priced against Boise. So, yeah, you should be able to win as a 9-point favorite and a 9-point favorite again. We'll see.
First reaction. Doesn't mean anything. We're not betting anything here. What's the Final Four? Out of the very top there, who are you going with? Texas? You have to go with Texas, right? Got to go with Texas.
I'm gonna go Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame.
Oh, you're going Notre Dame. Okay.
Who's playing quarterback for Georgia?
I don't know, but I like the second guy more. I like Gunner more.
Did you see?
Didn't you?
Did you see on
in
X?
That game?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Did you see on X that Carson Beck will not return? And then parentheses, ugly. Oh, they had fun with that one. Oh.
Yeah, they were showing his reactions. It's like he didn't want to celebrate too much the successes of Gunner, as they kept showing the mom every 5 seconds, again and again and again.
Gunner got destroyed in the head at the end of the game.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Destroyed.
Who knows how he is? Yeah, they had to pull him for a second. So, yeah, who is playing quarterback? But these games are a long time from now. If it's Notre Dame against Georgia, that's like a month from now almost, right? I mean, so there's going to be some time here. Yeah. It's going to be fascinating. Do you think Notre Dame was punished for not being in a conference? Because they were a 6 last week and they pushed them down to 7. I kind of feel like it's part of that and the other part TV show. Let's have Indiana and Notre Dame play.
Yeah, I thought the 5 and 6 were the best seeds to be, and they got the 7.
Yep.
So it feels that way. We'll never be able to prove it.
Yep.
5 and 6 are great spots. 7,
great
not
spots.
so much.